Hello people, this is New Sensei. I've had a good roll recently in terms of doing bow reviews. I've done a lot of nice high-end bow reviews. I've done some entry-level reviews. And today I want to cover an entry-level to mid-level bow. Some people have seen this floating around and I've had a couple of inquiries about this. So we'll take a look at the Cartel Fantom. The Cartel Fantom is a vacuum-forged aluminium riser. It's been around for quite a while and comes at a very low price point. It boasts features not normally found in entry-level risers and markets itself on its vacuum technology. I'm not in a position to clarify what this means for the end user. All I know is that it's a hefty entry-level metal riser. The Fantom has an industrial feel to it. The paint finish on the metal is shiny, but there's something about it that makes it look less elegant. It has the shape of a typical competition target riser, but the design makes less aesthetic sense to me. The frame gives it a rigid and sturdy structure, but it doesn't provide much else for comfort or ease of use. Many of the design elements seem to mostly function as weight removal rather than balance. The thickness of the riser is a curiosity. While most risers are consistent in width, the Fantom is significantly thicker at the front, tapering towards the rear. I'm going to be highly subjective here. I'm not fond of the lines and contours on the Fantom riser. Maybe I'm used to seeing beautiful shapes in W&Ws and Hoyt bows, but I found the SF bows to be fairly decent looking. The Cartel Fantom seems to bulge and curve in the wrong places. The bushings protrude outwards, the frame wiggles back and forth, forming unsightly ridges from top to bottom. The cutouts have clearly defined edges rather than a smooth look. While the finish is okay, it doesn't stick out to me as a particularly attractive riser. Aside from that, the Fantom has your typical bushings on the top, middle and bottom of the riser, as well as for sights and plunges. The grip is a rubbery, synthetic anti-slip surface. It's actually quite nice. The shape is good and the hand slips in nicely, as you would expect from risers like the low-end SF and Samick grips. It's comfortable and would be helpful for beginners in acquiring consistent placement. Something I noticed about the Fantom is that the front of the riser is rather thick. While you wouldn't normally wrap your fingers around the riser while shooting target style, I get the feeling that this is meant for larger hands. There's a bit of a backward bias, as you would expect. The balance is something I want to talk more about. When you check out Fantom reviews, you get a lot of 5-star reviews from people who really enjoy using it as a first bow, and given its price, that's a fair assessment. So why spend more? It's feedback and balance. The top competitive bows are designed so that the riser is easy to keep vertical. The cheaper risers like the Fantom tend to sit like dead weight. That's fine for a beginner. The mass of the riser alone keeps the bow steady. This is what people mean by a bow being forgiving. Higher level bows need a bit more finesse and reward good form. I'm also going to make a note about weight. The Fantom is 1200 grams, but it feels heavier for some reason. It has something to do with the material and the balance, but it feels heftier than heavier aluminium bows that I've shot. I have the bow set up with 36-pound Samick Vision limbs, keeping it within the beginner price bracket. Alright, let's try this bear bow. I'm using Eastern Carbon 1660s. These are too long for me, but not my bow, but they work quite well. I will also be using the Simon Fairweather finger tab for the first time. I will review this at some point. It's nice kangaroo leather. My first impressions are quite good, but we'll see how this goes. The reason I'm using this, my Fivix finger tab is not very good for bare bow because I've got the finger ledge stuck into my jaw, so I can't really get a good anchor. Hopefully this is going to be slightly easier. Not that I shoot bare bow, but that might explain why I kind of suck at it. I'm shooting surprisingly accurately. The tab works. But yeah, first impressions. As you would probably expect from a lower level aluminium riser, there's still quite a bit of vibration. There's a bit of a thud when you shoot. You can still see a bit of that leftover vibration. It doesn't absorb it that well. It's not bad, but it has that typical hallmark of that lower level, entry level style. It's a hunk of metal. It's not particularly well balanced. It does the job, so it's a strong, durable bow, but it doesn't control the vibration anywhere near as well as a top-end aluminium riser. So those are my first impressions. Let's do a bit more. Not bad. In case you're wondering what I'm doing, I am gap shooting this time, not instinctive. I am actually paying attention to the point of the arrow below my target. If you're wondering why I'm not anchoring as tightly, again, the finger tab does have a slight ledge, so I do feel it's kind of like rubbing my my nose or my cheek, so I can't quite get as tight as it would be. If you're shooting a bare bow and you're using one of those bare bow techniques, you might have to consider what kind of tab you are using. This is a wonderful tab, by the way. I do like it. It normally takes me time to break in, but right away, very smooth finger tab. But this is the review on the riser, not the finger tab, so let's keep on going. I mean, like, the bow works. It flings the arrows quite nicely, and the arrows are quite well matched for this particular bow. That's a nice shot, right in the middle. Yeah, the bow works fine. But yes, you will notice there is a noticeable amount of vibration. It's definitely not the smoothest bow you can choose. Again, I'm not a great bare bow shooter, or one at all really, but there you go. Oh, that went right in the middle. That's a nice shot process. Probably wasn't anchored that well, but again, I'm just showcasing the bow, not me. And yeah, bare bow, it works. I mean, like, the thing flings arrows. Yeah, the fact that the riser is somewhat heavy is interesting. So it does stay stable, but it doesn't absorb the vibration particularly well. And like I mentioned earlier, it does go left and right quite easily. So if you torque the bow, and I'm keeping my fingers off the riser by using a finger sling, so I'm not grabbing onto it. But if you are grabbing onto it, you will find that left and right thing will kind of frustrate you. So it is a solid platform, but it's not a particularly well balanced platform. So here we have the typical entry-level setup. We have Cartel stabilizers on a Cartel riser. I believe this is a Cartel plunger button. And we have a Shibuya dual click sight. So that's a little higher up. Right away, this is heavy. I mean, I've got substantial weight on the stabilizers, but the riser itself is already quite weighty. That is going to be quite tiring to use. And oh, ouch. Yeah, that's heavy. It's, like I said, a big hunk of metal in the shape of a bow. And I don't say this in a bad way necessarily, but it really is heavy. My first bow, my Samick Aguilar, was like this. It was just very heavy. It makes it easy to hold steady in some ways, but you do need some like arm conditioning to lift this up a lot. And a lot of people who start out with Olympic style archery do struggle with that weight. And considering that, your choice of riser will have something to do with it. Let's see how we go. Now, I won't be using the clicker. The arrows are not set for my length, so I can't use the clicker anyway. But we'll see how we can make this work. Okay, new finger tab. I'm getting used to the feeling. I'm not going to shoot at my prime. Not that I ever did. It's an ugly shot there. Still trying to find my anchor point with the new quiver, the new finger tab. Still figuring the anchor point out. It's a nice tab. That was a little loose. There is a bit of a plastic here which I'm supposed to anchor in, but I'm just not used to exactly the place. It's my anchor will be funny in these shots, but the pay attention to the bow, not me. That's what you're watching for. There we go. That's more back tension. Feels weird though. We'll get used to it. Ooh, that's still heavy to me. I mean, it stays still after the shot, so it does what it should do. It's a solid riser, but that's a heavy riser. I can imagine that if you do this 100 times a day, 200 times a day, that's gonna get tiring. It will condition you, but you do need some constitution to use this consistently. Oh. Normally the back tension tires me out the most, but yeah, I'm going to make a point about the weight of this riser. Not the stabilizer, the weight of the riser itself, I think is the questionable thing. Well, I'm shooting alright. It's consistent enough what I'm doing here. Well, that's a bit of a workout. Oh wow. I mean, I've used heavier risers. I've used like the AL1 for example, or even the Inno Max, which is like 1300 grams, but they don't feel this heavy. Oh, that was nice. Still heavy, but that's nice. I'm slowly getting the hang of this. The tab, I mean. The bow, not so much. I'm starting to get the feel for the tab should be like. It worked actually. I'm not sure the target again, but you'll see, or you can assume that all my arrows are in the center dot. It is. I've said this a few times already, but the weight will affect your shooting. I know some people will subconsciously develop certain habits which will help them control the bow weight. Not the draw weight, but the bow weight just a bit better. And some of these habits might not be good. Things like lifting it very high up, I've noticed some people will do. That's obviously very dangerous. But yeah, if the bow itself is too heavy for you, then yeah, you might consider reconsidering what riser you get, because yeah, certain risers will definitely have an impact on how stable you are throughout the shot process. Ooh, good expansion. Oh, the front shoulder, it's getting there. I know I'm out of condition for shooting, but I'm not that bad, really. I can shoot my bow, or the Nano Max, without that much problem. That's a clean, straight shot. Came up fairly nicely. I do look forward to rebuilding my form. That's something I will document in future videos, is rebuilding my Olympic form once I get around to it. Oh. I'm rushing through a bit. Again, no clicker. Getting used to my anchor point with the new tab. It's a nice tab. Really nice tab. But oh, that riser's heavy. I'm going to do one more, and just to benchmark, I'll use my old Fivix Sega 2 tab, just to show that I can still shoot, but also that I'm not hallucinating when it comes to how heavy or strange the bow feels. It's the clicker, or lack thereof. That's what's causing me the most trouble at the moment. To be expected. Yeah, you can tell I'm more used to my finger tab here because I'm just hammering the same spot. The arrows are hitting each other. Even without the clicker, they're coming out really nicely. Yep, that's clean. Not bad. So, my overall thoughts on the Cartel Fantom. My goodness, this thing is heavy. I feel like I'm exaggerating, but I've shot, you see me shoot all these bows, all these aluminium bows and these carbon bows and with stabilizers and with weights, but I don't think I've felt a bow this weighty. Either it's the mass of the bow itself or the way it's balanced. This does not feel like a nice bow to shoot compared to other bows. I mean, the bow itself isn't bad. I don't want to make it sound like this is a terrible purchase. There are certain advantages. It is a larger bow, so if you have bigger hands, then you might feel this is a more comfortable style of bow. And again, if you're a bigger person, you might handle the weight a bit better than I can, because I'm a fairly small guy, rather slim build, not very muscular, very Asian. But yeah, the bow is solid enough. I feel that I can shoot at a target at short distance, mid distance, any competitive distance. I can probably shoot this bow and it will be okay, but I don't feel the right kind of feedback. So this is not one of those high-end competition bows. It is, again, the stability comes mostly from the high mass, but the bow isn't designed to really help you reduce those variations that you normally have. I've put it down, by the way. Like I said, it is heavy. So yeah, the Cartel Fantom it's okay. You get what you pay for. It is a fairly affordable entry-level riser. It does look like a real riser. I mean, this is the modern kind of target bow, but it feels more like a bridging model. I mean, this reminds me more of the Yamaha Yola. That was from the 1980s. So I'm not sure how old the Fantom is, but it feels more like something I would see from that era, but of course sold today. So a bit of a throwback. Again, if you like the old-fashioned weighty designs of the freestyle target bows, then this does have some appeal to it. But yeah, it's not the most user-friendly. Again, the main consideration I feel is that if you are not a big person and you get tired easily, then this is going to be a problem. I'm also not overly fond of the limit adjustments. I have noticed that they do come loose and rattle. The vibration, again, isn't particularly good on this riser. And when I got this bow, the screws were loose. Whether it's because of lack of maintenance or it's just come loose over time, I'm not sure. But yeah, I think that the horizontal adjustment is a bit cruder than what you would see on a Hoyt or Win bow. Again, to be expected, you do cut costs somewhere. So while the bow itself is solid enough in design, I think the handling is average at best. The control is average. The looks, to me, again, I don't really put emphasis on aesthetics, but I don't find the look to be particularly great. Again, I don't want to make this sound like a negative review, but I do find the Fantom kind of underwhelming. But at the same time, this is what you expect from bows at this level. I would compare this to the SF Axiom, or especially the SF Premium, or what's now the W&S Premium Alpha. That kind of bow, the mid-range, affordable, budget-level bow, is fairly consistent with what the Cartel Fantom is. So if you've used the Fantom, or you're looking at this price range, then this is the sort of thing you can expect. And I have shot the Premium. It does feel very similar. It does feel weighty, and yeah, it does the job for a moderate shooter or entry-level shooter. But if you do experiment with high-level bows, you will definitely notice a difference. So in the end, you get what you pay for. It's good enough to learn with, but you might find it won't appeal to you in competition. Anyway, hope you found this helpful. This is New Sensei. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.